Hello again everyone and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host Derailious, and today we're going to be going over even more changes on the Alpha Network related to the Greenhouse update. Before we begin though, make sure to like and subscribe, use code RAIL on the Hypixel store, and if you're picking up Hytale, without any further ado, let's get started. The first notable change here is related to the Composter, in which there have been some nerfs to the costs of pretty much everything here. From my understanding, this is only related to the item upgrade cost and not the copper. I could be wrong about that, but it seems like they've kept the copper cost the same and lowered the amount of items you need by around 20-ish%. This is going to be pretty nice for Iron Man players. I also don't think they should have lowered the copper amount, because copper will be much easier to come by after the release of the Greenhouse anyway. Regardless, the Composter is going to be much easier after this release. I will definitely be interested in maxing it out. Next up, we have a couple of things regarding the Rose Dragon. If you're going to pick it up, you're going to need to get Ludlith to your garden and fulfill their request, and after you do that, they'll come over to this area in the back of the hub, and we can see if I open up F3 that it's at these coordinates. Once you do that, you'll be able to speak to Ludlith, and you will be able to pick up a Rose Dragon Egg. Now, the cost of the Rose Dragon Egg has also changed. It's now 500 million coins, 20,000 copper, 5 condensed helianthus, as well as a Glasscorn Devourer, all-in Aloe, Phantom Leaf, and Time Stalk mutation. So those are 5 rare mutations that you'll need to get. Those mutations, by the way, have all been discovered, and they will be linked down below in IC's spreadsheet, so you will be able to go through and figure out, okay, I need these items in order to get this mutation. There's also been a pretty major change to the greenhouse in terms of how long it's going to take to grow pretty much anything. The base time per growth cycle has been changed from 3 to 4 hours, garden levels are a quarter as effective in reducing time per growth cycle, and the unique crop bonus is half as effective in reducing time per growth cycle. The idea here is that the previous values were overtuned, and players did not have enough time to step away from the game for an extended period without crops dying of thirst. Upgrades should still feel significant and max around 1 hour 50 minutes per cycle, which should be plenty of time to take a breather. The idea here is also pretty clear. They didn't want people, planting a bunch of stuff, and then 2 hours later they come back and all of that stuff is already dead because they needed to water it. I think this is a fine change to make. It has to be balanced around how often people are going to be logging in to take a look at their greenhouses anyway. Another pretty notable change that they've made is that they've buffed the Wart Eater attribute. As you can see now, it goes all the way up to 0.1% chance to obtain a Warty when breaking nether warts. Previously, it only went up to 0.05%. This is a pretty significant increase. Warty is now also counted as a rare drop, and is affected by the Rare Finder and the Rose Dragon pet. So that means you should be getting Warties quite a bit more often, making the grind just a bit more bearable. There's also been a metric ton of bug fixes included as part of this update. I don't want to go over every single one of those as it can get a little bit repetitive, but I highly recommend reading through the thread, which I'll have linked down below. Next, I want to go over a pretty major change made to the Sundial. Previously, how this worked is that you would hand it into Sam, and then you'd be able to change your speed on certain plots. But people were rightfully bringing up the fact, hey, I have a plot that has every single crop on it, that doesn't really work. So they decided to rework this, and it looks really good now. You can hand this into Sam to unlock crop speed settings in your garden, which, by the way, I want to show you the recipe for this. This is just going to be a bunch of compacted sunflowers, as well as 5 chloronite, which is a rare mutation. But if you hand this into Sam and you just click on her and then boom, you get it, you're able to head over to your desk and you're able to open up a speed per crop menu. You can set your speed to be whatever you want. I think it goes as low as 20 and up to the speed cap. And you are just able to set it for every single type of crop in the game. You're also able to do /set crop speed, then type in the speed you want, then the type of crop, and then boom, my walk speed cap has been set to 300 when breaking potatoes. This is so much better than the previous system. I feel like it's going to be a lot better for people who actually interact with making huge mega plots with all of the different crops on there. Definitely going to be a lot more intuitive. The Hedgehog has also had a bit of a change. Its perk Nocturnal has been revamped into Hunter's Insight, in which you now gain 0.7 farming fortune per bestiary pest tier. This is extremely different than the one we had prior, and I imagine it's a little bit better. Another pretty awesome change, the Ultimate Harvester Helmet swappable skin now has 9 skins for each of the 3 new collections. This is available retroactively to anyone that has the skin applied. Very nice to see. Another really good change, if you head over to your mining sack, you can see sulfur is now there. Same thing in your enchanted mining sack. There is enchanted sulfur. It's now included as part of your mining sacks. Another change that they made, they actually added in the upgraded Wild Rose Hoe as well as the Eclipse Hoe. You can now make them. As you can see, nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of their recipes, just upgraded Wild Roses for the Wild Rose Hoe, and for the Eclipse Hoe, it's just going to be sunflowers and moonflowers. Wrapping up here, I've got to say the update looks fairly polished, especially considering that there's going to be a downtime on Monday, and I imagine that's going to be the release date. The admins have made a ton of changes to this alpha in the last week, taking into account a ton of community feedback. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the update down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.